best stuff ever. I don't need to fill in either of those lanes. I've been pretty transparent with you guys over the years. And I told you guys recently I'm not going to be a fan if this plot twist were to happen. And now that I've seen it, I'm definitely not a fan of what we got here. And I'm not happy that Boruto's sitting underneath Sasuke like he's Rocket Raccoon from the Guardians of the Galaxy, and Sasuke stuck in that tree looking like the only words he can say is, "I am Groot." Am I biased? Absolutely. I am a big Sasuke fan. My first avatar that I got commissioned drawn for this channel was a fusion of Sasuke and Natsu from Fairy Tail, because back when I started Naruto Explained, I was debating turning this into a variety anime channel like my original channel Kryptonian Saiyan, where I still talk about other anime and manga. So yes, I am biased here, even though Sasuke isn't my personal favorite Naruto character. One of my favorite Naruto characters, but he's not, say, Itachi or Obito Amada or Kakashi. However, I'm going to wait to call this complete BS on this reveal, only because I practice what I preach, what I tell you guys, which is that I don't react just off of one chapter. I'll give the story time to flesh things out and see if I have an ick that is addressed later on. Sometimes it takes 3 to 4 volumes, basically a whole year for monthly releases, and sometimes it can take 3 to 4 years, like some of the plot points from Attack on Titan monthly manga, or My Dress Up Darling, which I also read, that is a monthly manga, which don't judge me, but it still has stuck those set up from the events of season 1, so like the first 30 chapters that have not been addressed 60 chapters later by the events of chapter 98, which should have been the last one that we got. So am I used to waiting to see if mangaka will address a plot thread or not? Absolutely. It's part of reading an ongoing series. I think this moment with Sasuke, given how big of a reveal that it is, that Sasuke got bitten and turned into a tree, I do think it's something that we're going to get the backstory on and we're going to get context on in a future chapter. I just don't think it's going to be the next chapter. Now, I'll be pleasantly surprised if it is the next chapter, but that brings up this right here. The real question we have to ask ourselves is, will this be a show versus tell situation? Will the manga show us what happened the way that Naruto showed us in volume 27? The story how Kakashi got the Sharingan and showed us in volume 63 how Obito joined Madara while simultaneously closing that plot thread from volume 27 7 years ago, all while opening up more plot threads in the process for the remaining 9 volumes of the Naruto franchise. If we go the approach of show, then depending on what is revealed to us behind the circumstances, then I'd be fine with what it is we got, because there would be some closure given there, which builds on the reveal that Sarada had in chapter 3 of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, that the people trapped inside the tree that's still alive. It's a great way to lend the story optimism in what will definitely be a dire situation that won't be well received by fans. That's a fair enough trade-off. However, the story could take the tell approach, which, as you guys know, I do understand why some authors do take the tell approach. I'm not the biggest fan of this method of writing, even though it can be effective to just dump the info and trust your readers to connect the dots and keep it moving. Stories that tend to use in medias res as a writing method, where they start with a flash forward sequence, which is what Boruto did by showing you Boruto versus Kawaki in chapter 1, then going back to tell the story chronologically of how we got to that point. They tend to use quite a bit of the telling method during that period, which is what Boruto continues to do. We weren't shown what happened with Kaguya and Ishiki. It was unnecessary information. We were just told that Kaguya came to Earth, she waited for Ishiki to lower his guard, sneak attacked him, and then bam, Kaguya got the chakra fruit for herself. We weren't shown why Code has a strong affection for the Otsuki clan to the point he admires a vessel like Jigen and he worships an Otsuki like Ishiki. We just got told this guy is an Otsuki worshipping nut job, and we're just expected to run with it. In the pit of my stomach, I have this very sneaking suspicion this is exactly what's about to happen with Sasuke being turned into a tree. I have the same feeling I had when I was in college and my college girlfriend cheated on me with a lawyer. I knew she was getting some side D from a sneaky link, and sure enough, it ended up happening.
Mobile games are going big. Clash of Clans is now available on PC with Google Play Games.
Which that might be a little personal, but you guys get what I'm trying to say. Maybe not right away we find out this information, and if it is in the next chapter where there's a passing line like Kashin, Koji, and Boruto are talking, that much I do expect that's going to happen in the next chapter. It's in character for Kashin, Koji and not be caught up on the details like that when there's a larger threat saying like, hey, you could have ended up like Sasuke, then keep it moving. But I'm more so referring to what's going to happen when Boruto eventually has to tell Sarada about what happened, or someone like Ada reveals what happened to Sasuke. I'm expecting the same thing we got with Ishiki, where there were a quick 2 to 3 panels with some dialogue being shown, and then we jump right back in the story, just like it was the case with Code being a nut job for the Otsuki clan, where he chokes out Kawaki and Kawaki's flashback when they're kids because he's jealous of him, and then we jump back into the main story. I'm not expecting much more than that, because as hard as it is to believe, we're still in Boruto's flashback telling the story leading up to when he and Kawaki fought on top of the Hokage Monument amongst the backdrop of the destroyed Hidden Leaf Village. Just because of how stories that utilize this method more often than not, which obviously there are exceptions to the rule, but exceptions don't make the standard. Most of the time, stories like this are the ones that choose to use the tell method to tell us events that happen, and then they go back to the main story beats themselves. If we go that route, I'm definitely not going to be pleased, and longtime viewers of the channel who go back to the Kryptonian Saiyan YouTube channel days know exactly why. I've been worried the story would do this from the moment Kishimoto told us in 2016 that he had no problem writing off and killing off characters from the Naruto story if it meant raising the stakes in Boruto, because I saw the method of writing that this story was taking by using a flash forward sequence and what that likely meant for events like this. Now, I will say, I don't think most of us are mad that Sasuke saved his student from being eaten by a Ten Tails. I think when you look at how this guy was scared out of his mind in chapter 80 of Boruto Naruto Next Generations, and he's openly saying he can't trust his memories and doesn't know if he's made a mistake by helping Boruto, the fact that a guy like that can bring himself to save Boruto shows just how far Sasuke has come, because he's not acting off of logic anymore and is acting off of emotion, and it implies that Boruto and Sasuke have rebuilt their bond strong enough to a degree that he would do something like this. Now, obviously, the other thing is that he likely would know that the Ten Tails claw grinds that they ate Boruto would begin harvesting a chakra fruit, especially because you got someone like Code who would be bragging about that. So this could be a moment where Sasuke just makes a logical decision for the greater ninja world itself. However, if we go with that first line of thinking that Sasuke and Boruto have rebuilt their bond, the idea of him being caught in something like this and needing help from his student to escape is Sasuke coming back full circle, because in Naruto's first arc, the Land of Waves arc, Kakashi gets in a similar situation when he's fighting and having to look out for his students, and that leads to him getting caught in Zabuza's water prison jutsu and needing Team 7 to break him out of it. It'll be a really cool full circle moment. Assuming Boruto does get Sasuke out, I don't think we're going to be happy with Sasuke being turned into a tree to combat climate change in the ninja world. I don't want to make any assumptions about that, so I do want to know what you guys think about this.
Excuse me, G. Titan. Hi. What up, Mango? How you doing? Yeah, we're gonna get it tomorrow. Can't wait. They have one on Black Friday too, but I can't make it to that one because I gotta do some family stuff. Dang, bro, you train? Yeah, ringworm's the worst. Oh, I've had it like 1,000,007 times. Mango King S. I'm guessing that's first person shooter, right? So we probably met in Mango's channel. Two trying maybe that's better. Maybe the game goes to Let me see how loud the game is to my mic.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Dang. Go beat J-Ron? Fuck yeah. I appreciate it, man.
And also, by the way,
Let me see if I can fix the game audio for
cool
you.
as a cucumber.
He didn't force anything.
Oh my goodness. He said you can't be on Dreamland. No, I can't you on Dreamland.
Thanks for the follow as well, sir. Looks like the game audio might be quiet enough now. Sounds good? Alright, good. So I don't know if you heard what I said earlier, but yeah, I've had ringworm 1,000,000 times. It's the worst, so I feel for you. Going on autopilot. Some people are good with autopilot. Some people want to be able to focus in, you know? So I get what you're saying. Definitely is good to be able to give it your full attention. Your name is Mango King FPS though, so did we meet in Mango's chat? And if so, it's crazy that you also do Jiu-Jitsu. Nope, it's my... what user? It's your own username? Okay. Mango King FPS. I appreciate the trial in the tip, my guy, I would definitely attempt to beat J-Rod. Although I don't think he, did he win? I don't think he won. He didn't even compete. Anyways, I don't know if he's going to be doing West Coast trials, but I'll try. Get your flow grappling video on YouTube. I mean, that's the goal, right? I did get entered into, like, 2 ADCC trials ago. I got entered into a most drip competition because I wore, like, a brown belt spats and rash guard combo, and then, I had, like, a mullet and a mustache. I did not win because Gordon showed up dressed like a cowboy for the first time. But it was fun. I need to have a good performance though. This will be like my 5th trials. I'm pretty sick of being mid, so yeah, it would be nice. Where am I going? I've gotten 2 subs in ADCC trials, but I've never made it past the 2nd round. You see familiar faces at this point. Oh yeah. I mean, my very first trials match ever, which I think was in 2015 or 14. It was one of those. Anyways, the very first... What the fuck is this? Balloons? The very first match I ever had, I don't know what this does. It was against one of Gary Conan's students. I felt really confident until Gary Conan sat down in the corner, and then I was like, holy fucking shit. You know, like, this is not good. Oh my god, how do I get down? Okay. I won that match, and then my 2nd match, I went against Mark Ramos, who's an old school IBJJF, like, super good dude. I think he's won Worlds a couple times. So, I felt like I had a pretty good showing against him too, but he ended up waiting until points, and then he like baramboloed me and my back and scored, and then I panicked, and he got the choke in that I was trying to not get scored on. So, you know, I feel like I've done a good job, but I've never made like a good run. You know, I've never really like done anything where people like I got blown up because of it or whatever. But I suck. How do you release the balloon? Okay. Oh, I suck. But yeah, I did talk to Gary this last time because he's wearing a rhinestone jacket. He was swagging. Hot and trash. Still play low, but I've competed 4 times. Competition is exciting. That's what I live for, man. I wanna just compete full time. I've run a couple gyms. There were good things and bad things about it, but I think that like I feel absolutely happiest when I'm just competing. You know, it's definitely the funnest thing to me. first. Alright. My first tournament was a Naga. Trained super hard for it. And I lost, I believe it was 23-0. The guy passed my guard over and over and over and over, and he could not submit me. 4 to 6 weeks, all I practiced was guard recovery. So that was not. Just were incomplete guard recovery before guard retention. Works in regular rolls. Yeah, so I had 0 guard retention. Like, absolutely 0. And he just kept blowing through my guard. And I did work on retention a lot, but the biggest thing is he would get the side control and I could not get back to guard. You know, I just absolutely could not. So I just went home and just practiced over and over, like recovering my bottom knee from side control back into guard. And I know it's not the best like option from bottom side control, but it is the one that you absolutely have to have. You cannot have it. And I did not. I did not have it. No. Well, that's the best thing about the buggy choke, right? The thing that makes the buggy choke good enough to be used, because let's be real, bottom side control submissions, historically, were good for Hail Marys, or they were a good indicator that somebody was trash, right? Like, they just were constantly spamming side control submissions. But the thing about the buggy choke is if you don't get it, you get the guard recovery, so it actually makes it a legitimate option, because the backup is just so reliable. And it's really cool how you set it up off of a guillotine grip. Again, like the #1 option, right? It takes 2 like lower level moves and makes them very high level even if you don't get the buggy choke. Somebody in here, I'm pretty sure. Oh, I'm trash at Fortnite. Would you pass up on side control to try and get them out every time? Let me I'll move my Streamlabs over so I can read your message better. Right there. There we go. Alright. Would you pass up on side control to try and get him out every time? It just depends, like, what kind of pass you're doing. Sometimes you get different top positions easier. But my thing is side control is cool and mount is cool. I'll do different things from there. But my biggest thing is just, I mean, I have a lot of different things I do nowadays, but like in the past coming up, my best thing has always just been the back. So I would probably pass up on side control and the mount just to try and get the back. Like, I'm always looking for a shortcut to the back. You know, you try to pass aggressively so that your opponent starts to worry about the position that you're doing. But once they are worried, then you just like, or you meaning me, then I would just like try to sneak in a back control somehow. Usually I do Neil and Billy to open them up. Yeah, that's a good way to open them up. Really, that, you know, obviously jump hurts most people a little bit more, unless you just have like a crazy cross-face aim or something. So that'll open them up. But yeah, the open up is exactly what I'm looking for. I'm just trying to get the guy, you know, in video games it's called like hit stun. I'm just trying to get the guy reacting. You know, in judo they call it kazushi if you're falling and attacking kind of thing. I'm just trying to get him into the state where he's physically off balance or strategically off his center, and then I'm trying to sink in a hook or an arm around the neck or whatever. Neon Belly's a good one though. Neon Belly is the one you go to where the guys you figure over it and you're just like, alright man, you need to calm down. I like to go Neon Belly, and I like to take my cross face instead of cross facing him, put my forearm over his throat and turn his face the other way. That's usually what I do when I've just had enough with the guy. I'm going Neon Belly, forearm over the throat, and they're probably going to push off me with their arm, and I'm going to staple it down with my free leg. Nice underhook, forearm on the throat, Neon Belly, shin on the bicep, until they calm down. Favorite thing to do in back control is body, just to get my body triangle over one of the arms. Yeah, that's like the new wave, right? Or I said new wave of jiu-jitsu, but I guess the pun comes there because Gordon does it constantly, right? The Donahair straight jacket back control is pretty much cemented as the most superior way to do it for results right now. But when Gordon truly dominates somebody is when he body triangles them and one of their arms are trapped inside the body triangle. It's not the easiest to get, but once you get it, it's just disgusting, right? It's just like basically the best control Gordon has. Because then he just controls the free arm with his arm and gets one hand under the throat. So yeah. I would say it's like the new school classic at this point. I'm pretty small though. Body triangling people, while it's super good, is not like the easiest to get from me. So yeah, for sure. It's definitely the current end game, right? Whatever I can do to body triangle over one of your wrists is fucked. It's my favorite guard. Right now I've been fucking around with a few different kinds of guards. But I think my favorite at the moment is whatever lends me some kind of a... I'm trying to figure out how to explain it. Because I do it from passing the guard too. But I've been doing almost like a DMs kind of thing from the bottom. I don't know if you know what DMs is. X-Guard seems like a good fit for you. I've done tons of X-Guard, man. Tons and tons. X-Guard, leg entanglements. But again, a lot of it's into trying to trick people into the back. I really like butterfly guard because I get a lot of reverse arm drags from there. But yeah, if you know what DMs is, I try to do DMs from guard, if that makes any sense at all. Alright, I need to learn how to ban people. How do I get rid of this bot chat? God damn it. How do I time this person out? Do I have to do it through Twitch? Oh, I suck. Click on their name and hit the ban button. I clicked on their name. I see no... Well, I'm doing it through Streamlabs, though. Do I have to do it through Twitch? I think I have to do it through Twitch. Yeah, so I'm going to have to go to my chat. Hold on.
Right, because they already have weak auras they built out for the Blade.
Go ahead and mute Twitch. Go to my channel. To do it in my actual chat, don't I? Boink. Manage suspicious behavior. It's gotta be right? Manage suspicious user. What the fuck? Alright, I'm gonna have to figure this out later. I don't want to deal with it right now. What were we talking about? DMs. Okay, so DMs is when... Oh my god, Marcelo has this certain way of passing. He puts one leg in between the legs, he splits your legs, and he puts a hand on the knee and hand on the hip. And we call this the M stance. Typically with the M stance, you're trending towards the knee cut that you're going to. But if the opponent ever gets like a strong butterfly hook and they turn to their opposite hip, then we go into the DMs, which is where like you stuff that butterfly hook between your legs, you staple down the foot that you brought in the middle, you use it to staple down their outside leg, and then we call that sliding DM. So basically, I'm trying to get into the DMs from the bottom, like I'm letting the guy go to DMs. And I don't know, I just get like a lot of cool little back takes and stuff off of it. A lot of my guard play is counter guard play, if that makes sense. So like counter passing play. So like I'm not looking to go to a guard. I'm looking to counter the pass that I know the person's probably gonna do. And I like turn that into a guard. If that makes sense. Got it. It's like trying to get into HQ. Yeah, maybe it's called. So maybe the pass is called the DM's pass, and maybe the position is called HQ. I don't know a lot of the new 10th Planet names. I've been doing it a long time, so I'm not exactly. I've been doing my own thing a little bit, so I might have some of the names mistaken. But yeah, I think HQ is close to there. I'm pretty sure. So I'm pretty sure we're on the same page. So basically, when the guy on top is putting me like in DMs, from my perspective, which is probably close to the HQ stuff you're talking about, that's like my favorite guard. So it's like I have a butterfly hook, but it's being neutralized because the guy has kind of stuffed it and he's trying to go the other way. I don't know, I just really like that. Yeah. It gives me a lot of good back takes and stuff. And then I like passing like that right now too, so it feels good to be on both ends of it, if that makes sense. My school taught it. I learned that it's about the knee position on the chest for the defending guy. Knee position on. Yeah, no, that's exactly what I mean. I've always liked playing like my knees really close to my body, especially to my face. I'll play like a really shitty open guard because I just feel comfortable with my knees being close to me. And I feel like it gives guys a sense of confidence that they don't really have, or they shouldn't have maybe, because we're in a position where I should be uncomfortable, but the fact that I'm not kind of makes you uncomfortable. Yeah, and the float pass is like the meta, right? Which I'm pretty sure, I was actually thinking about this yesterday. It's cool that you brought that up. It reminded me of something I was thinking during rolling, or during drilling, is that Eddie Cummings, because we were drilling like the Eddie Cummings leg lock entries from Butterfly Garden stuff Monday morning at day class, Coach Tim, that's what we were working on. And I realized that moment when you're up in the air, on top of somebody's butterfly guard who's trying to do like that double unders push up and get like elevate you and then like switch to reverse honey or do that reverse X honey hole entry or the Ashi entry or whatever you're doing. There's this moment as the guy, because the dude was drilling it on me, and I was realizing once we went live that if I circle the foot that he's trying to do Ashi on over the top of his butterfly hook, I end up in that position that Gordon does all the time, right? He body locks him, and then he flips his foot on top of your foot. And it's kind of like a float pass, but it's like Gordon spec, right? He body locks and he does that shit. I realized maybe he learned that from training Eddie Cummings. Eddie Cummings is always trying to elevate double unders or whatever and try and get into a leg entanglement, and maybe Gordon started flipping his foot on top of his foot. I don't know. There's something I was thinking about. Yeah, and that's kind of how I like to play guard, right? Oh my god, I'm getting destroyed right now. Leave me alone, person. That's how I like to play guard. So I'm usually just trying to narrow down. Oh, this is a bad landing zone. I'm usually trying to narrow down what passes they have available, so that it's predictable, and then I do a lot of counter guard work, and I use setups off that, because I'm pretty small, but I train with a lot of people who are bigger than me. So that's how I've gotten used to playing. It's the best when you can put concepts together and learn new details. Yeah, I mean, the funnest you can have in jiu-jitsu is two things. It's when you're, in my opinion, it's when you're doing a lot of rolling, like it's mainly rolling-based training. And then the other way that it's really fun is when you can conceptually train instead of like being specific, having to do certain sets of moves, or like being extremely logical. When you roll mostly off of principles instead of moves, that's the funnest I have. Super heavy rolling and just mostly like conceptual training. I think nowadays they're calling it something ecological jiu-jitsu or some shit. Yeah, but the rules are not defined by us. It's almost like you're discovering the rules of the game instead of someone telling you what they are and then you trying to inorganically force them to happen in nature. You're just like accepting whatever's going on. I agree. I think that's like some of the funnest ways to do it. If you get too lazy with it, obviously disciplined people are at some point going to punish undisciplined people for not training enough or not training hard enough. You definitely have to make sure you're taking yourself outside of your comfort zone. But I think, being authentic in that way can also beat guys who are too rigid, who thinks things always go a certain way and blah, blah, blah. You have to keep it real, but you also have to be a person, The moment you stop being a human, some lazy candy eating motherfucker just can come through and smack you with some shit you could have never been prepared for. My first jiu-jitsu class was, I went to, so basically, long story short, I moved a lot as a kid, and I just gave up trying to make friends. Just over it. I kept moving, so I was just fuck it, I'm not gonna try. I became that really quiet guy, just he does whatever and goes home. So after a whole summer of me not leaving the house, all I did was play video games. I was listening to music. I was getting really into music and trying to learn how to do vocals and stuff. But besides those two things, both of those things were computer screens, so that was the problem. My dad was just basically you're lazy, and cannot condone a sedentary lifestyle, so I'm going to make you do something. I'm going to give you some time to choose, but I'm going to make you do something. And he was like, you can do basketball, or you can do karate. I did karate as a kid, by kid I mean fucking 4 years old, and I didn't like it, it scared me, so I didn't do it anymore. But I played sports growing up. I played soccer for 7 years or some shit, and I did football for 1 year. I really liked it, but it was a small school, so when I moved, I wasn't gonna do it. But basketball, I'm fucking 5. I'm not that tall. I'm 5'6", 5'8" or some shit. I don't know. And I weigh 125 pounds. So I just knew basketball was gonna be. I just quit football because I wasn't physically cut out for it. You know what I mean? I went from a 2 or 3A school to a 5A school. There's just no fucking shot. It's not I didn't feel I could accomplish anything. It's just it's not worth how much it's gonna take, and I knew that. So I was there's no fucking way I'm playing basketball. I'm tiny and white. It's not happening. So I said, fine, I'll do karate. As the time progressed, and I knew I wasn't getting out of this situation. So we go to a karate school in Decatur, Alabama. If you don't know anything about Decatur, geographically, it's a fucking shit show. It's got some cool stuff around it, but like it hasn't grown in like 10 fucking years, 20 years because of the geography of it. It's a long story. Anyways, to go to a karate school, which in the long run, I found out that the karate school actually really gave me a lot of history and stuff. And Decatur's not that bad. It just really struggles, like growing as a city. We go to this little tiny 50,000 people in Decatur City karate school. My dad shows up. I don't know. We showed up really late or something. And they were like, well, all the karate stuff is done, but you can try the jiu-jitsu class in the back room. What the fuck is this? Hoverboard? So, I mean, we're talking puzzle mats like the size of maybe 2 queen beds next to each other. It was tiny. And so I did it, and it was a blue belt there. And Brandon McCatherine, he's like the GOAT of the Southeast. He was the first implant in the Southeast in the United States. Going strong still. I mean, he's basically accomplished everything. Probably, I'll go ahead and say this. I think Brandon is the most accomplished commentator in all of jiu-jitsu at this point. He's commentated on everything. So yeah, he's accomplished a lot of shit. And he was teaching, he was a blue belt, and my first class was, we learned the truck roll, twister roll, and twister side control. Karate and BJJ school. Yeah, so Brandon actually got, while he was coming up the ranks in 10th Planet, he and his wife, and his kids too, which they're awesome. I haven't seen them in a while, but watching them train when they were little kids was really cool. Him and his wife both got black belts under that karate studio. His name's Jamie Webster. His father before that ran the school, and they're Native Americans, like true martial artists. They did some jiu-jitsu too. I know Jamie did at least. His son Grayson. Really cool people. And Jamie was like on some traditional martial arts TV show back in the day too. There's a lot of cool stuff surrounding that. But yeah, Brandon and his wife, I mean, I watched them, they were already started in it. Brandon would do like the MMA class with Jamie on Saturdays, and he had some funny stories about that stuff too, because they would do some really crazy stuff that they'd seen like Hicks and Gracie do, like pulling cars with their forehead and stuff. I don't know. But anyways, I was there when they like did their black belt test in Decatur. They both had to crush cinder blocks. I think Brandon's wife even broke her hand or something and then still finished it. Like she broke her hand on the first try and still did it on her second try. And they kept going to the 10th Planet ranks after that. Yeah, his videos are crazy, dude. Remember he got his first, there was this wrestler guy that came in, because this was very, very typical. It's like being in Decatur, guys would just come in off the streets. They did some wrestling, or they had a street fight one time, or maybe because MMA in Alabama for a long time was unsanctioned. So if you did MMA in Alabama, you were like doing it illegally. But you would have guys that did these illegal MMA fights or whatever, and they would come in and I want to challenge the coach, the instructor, and Brandon would just trash these guys. Later he got sick of it and he would make us do it, until the person like earned their stay or whatever, and then he would train with them. But yeah, a wrestler dude came in, and Brandon had gotten a better spot at this point in a Bender's gym in I think it was called Bender's, something like that. No, I don't remember. Anyways, but yeah, so he pulled the security cam footage and narrated it and uploaded it to YouTube, where this wrestler dude come in and challenged him, and it got like 1 million views. And ever since then, Brandon's he's just been like increasing that success. That was like his first big break, and he just has continued. Yeah, Mat Enforcer duties. Yeah, that vid, man. And what's crazy is, so I ended up working at like a factory not long after that, like a sign factory out in one of the towns away from Decatur, another like redneck town. That guy ended up working there with me, dude. He was pretty cool, but it's not like that he was like this totally horrible person and he was an anomaly or anything. He really wasn't. That was very typical. Like at least 2 or 3 times a year, there would be some bonehead come in that just thought I don't know what he thought. He thought he was gonna tap Brandon out in front of everybody, and then like that means that it was his school now, and then like, you know, he was gonna, your children are now my children, or whatever. I don't know, but you know, when I started, there weren't really dojo storms going on anymore, but dojo storming had just ended, I guess is the way you would put it, and like there were still unofficial dojo storms. Like you would come train with somebody, but really you were just trying to fuck them up in all their people so that they would come train with you instead. But like, I don't know, 10, 20 years before I started, dojo storming was still a thing. Like you would take like a mob of, you were basically a martial arts team. You would go to someone else's school, fuck them up, tell them to leave, you know, take all their students. Yeah, you tap him with a wrestling pin, now your wife belongs to me. Yeah, and the thing is, we didn't have like super legit wrestlers either, you know, like later on, we started training like with some state champ wrestlers and stuff, and we got to see like what it really looked like. I guess the guys I'm talking about weren't wrestlers, they were wrestlers, you know. Some of them had some actual knowledge of grappling, and some of them didn't. But you know, they were all self-proclaimed like, I don't know if they just watch too much WWE or what. But WWE is legit too. It's like its own, almost like acrobatic, you know, theater version of grappling. But that's a whole skill set in and of itself. These guys are a different cut, bro. They're 100% hamburger helper beef, like, jacked out of their minds, crazy rage head. I don't know. My uncle beat me up, so now I beat you up. I don't fucking know. I mean, well, that's the thing, though. Real wrestlers want to start on their feet, right? But the majority of these motherfuckers want to start on their knees. That's what's crazy. And then they go as hard as they can. They wear a loose t-shirt, and some gym shorts, you know? And they would just go so fucking hard, dude. I'm talking like it's the final arc in an anime, and the headlock isn't even good. It's not like they're in Keisakatame, and they have some kind of strategy with their headlock. They're just wrapping around your neck and just fucking squeezing, bro. Yeah, I don't know. I think you are giving them too much credit, dude. They're not like legitimate collegiate wrestlers. They're just self-proclaimed, I've wrestled before guys. So I don't even really understand. Brandon used to say, everyone on the planet knows a guillotine and a headlock. It's those motherfuckers. Because, yeah, like a legitimate wrestler has a huge advantage starting on the feet, right? But we're not talking about the guys who are going to shoot a technical single leg on you. We're talking about the guys that... I just don't know how to explain. You have to be from the South, specifically Alabama, to know what I mean. I think there's a certain breed of Alabama man. Yeah, like Farmer Blast Double. Like a lot of the corn memes that you see nowadays, like the corn-fed white boy, those are funny, but those are like not funny if you're from Alabama. Because that's exactly what they are. They've just been eating corn and beef their whole life. They're like, you know, you've heard of Giga Chad, they're like country Chad. And don't get me wrong, you got some legitimate grapplers that would come through too, or some guys that would have a little bit of experience, but there's just this aggression level that is old-timey Alabama men. And I'm not trying to be sexist, it could be a woman too. filling myself with balloons last time. Maybe I should just put them down. Some of the most common things you hear from a guy like that is just stand up. Like when you're on the bottom amount, just stand up. You know, they like to say things don't work, especially back in the day. That Pink Planet shit don't work. That was a common one. Explode. That was where it became like an anime. It was like their fucking catchphrase, their solution to everything. Explode! Just explode! Used to be aggressive when I started BJJ training against purple belts with home would be super quick. I mean, they didn't really have that, you know? Brandon would be, or us, or whoever it was, would be the first taste of humbling they got. And don't get me wrong, I'm not the guy to criticize people for being too aggressive. I've gone through phases where I was just fucking psychotic. Because, I mean, if you don't know what to do and the stakes are high, sometimes you just go ham. That's what you do. But, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, intelligence beats pettiness, you know? Like, but when you're fucking part of the Alabama wrestler squad, you don't know what else to do. And don't get me wrong, I don't dislike wrestlers. I petitioned for a wrestling program at my school the whole time I was there, and they didn't get one until we wrapped right up. I would have definitely done it. It's just these, like, informal wrestlers, would be the best way to put it. You know, real wrestlers, they're the grittiest motherfuckers on the planet. There is nothing cooler, or I would say physically and, like, mentally more difficult in the world than just a pure wrestler. Like, by itself, it might be the hardest thing on the planet. But these guys carry that same mentality, and they don't actually wrestle, you know? Yeah, it's not wrestling. Wrestling might be the most important skill set on the planet. You know, when it comes down to just by itself skill sets. It's the most American, that's for goddamn sure. Yeah, I don't know. I wish we could have captured, like, I need a time machine to go back in time and just catch one of those guys so that I can have, like, an exhibit, kind of like the Collector in the MCU, to show you what a real Alabama wrestler is. I feel like they're a dying breed. No. Controller's not working. Controller not working. But I go, dude, my white belt self doesn't need anyone else to beat him up. I think Fortnite just crashed. Oh, God. That is funny, though. Yep, Fortnite definitely crashed. Try to play something else. I don't have too much time left anyways. If I had a time machine, would I go back and beat up my white belt self? My white belt self was a pathetic excuse for a human, so I don't think he needs the extra abuse, if that makes sense. My white belt self was just happy to get 2 meals a day, 4 hours of sleep, and not be so depressed he could get out of bed in the morning. So while it would be hilarious to do, I don't know, we're going to end up in one of those time loops. It means I've come far. I'm afraid if I went back in time and beat up my white belt self, unless he was super inspired, maybe he'd be like, wow, I can be that one day, right? And then he would be positive. But my first initial thought was that white belt self getting beat up by me now would be like the one thing that broke his will, and he just gave up on life, you know? So I don't know. That might not be a good strat, because if it's like one of those time loops where if I kill my previous self, then I just cease to exist, you know, I go back and beat him up, I come back to my present time, and then I just start like fading, and I'm like, oh fuck, I did it now. Yeah, well, it's funny you say Joker moment, because I'm pretty sure everything up to this moment has been my villain origin story. My little brothers actually say that. They say that I live life like it's a villain origin story, which I don't know if that's a good thing. Might be something I need to work on. Alright, let's see if I can get... Or should I play Smash? I kinda wanna play Smash. Yeah, but what is a great villain, right? Isn't that kinda like an oxymoron? I definitely feel like I'm like the Joaquin Phoenix Joker for sure. But then again, that's like the most pathetic thing to say, right? I think it's just because the way I do my hair. Ugh, ugh, ugh. I think we're just gonna have to go with craft. I only have like 30 more minutes. Then I gotta go to work. I don't think I need Steam open anymore. You wanna do BJJ full time? I've done it a couple times, man. Let me think. I've done BJJ 2 or 3 times. So if you didn't know, I ran 10th Planet, Clarksville, Tennessee. I did the program there. I had a business partner, Ron Daly. He was super cool. He even trains with us at 10th Planet Nashville now. Him and his son, Taggart. And so that was the first one. And then we tried to open another one in Hamilton, Ohio. It never became an official 10th Planet affiliate, but I did full-time there. And then a few years later, I had another business partner in Enterprise, Alabama, and I had 10th Planet Enterprise. But my biggest thing right now is I want to do jiu-jitsu full-time without having to run a physical location. Like, I just want to be a student under Tim Freeman at 10th Planet Nashville. And then I want to try to make a living competing, streaming when I train. I have like a Patreon now where I upload private lessons. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I upload stuff to YouTube and like all my other social medias. I have like a TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all that crap. And then I go live on Twitch and I upload like exclusive stuff, private lessons, stuff like that to Patreon. I really want to be able to do that full time and not have a job, and compete. Like that's what I love to do with jiu-jitsu. It's just compete and like stream and make content. Yeah, I mean, I think we're trending that way, right? Especially if Dana White gets more involved, and Gordon's done a really good job of pushing it to where, it's become more realistic for people to accomplish that. And there's so many tournaments that pay now too, right? Like, so many tournaments. So, I think it's definitely more doable now than ever. But, like, you still gotta put in the work and all that, right? It's hard doing it full time. If you want to have a successful business, I think you need to have a day job. But then, obviously, the ultimate form of success is not having one, right? So it's a hard line to cross. If you're doing it all yourself, it's extremely hard. But people do it. I know a lot of people that do it. I just really enjoy watching Twitch, and I've always streamed when I train. Even back in the day, when Facebook Live was the only really thing that I use.
yeah.
I'd never
didn't
leave
leave my entire life.
the garage. Like I just
Oh,
stay
it's
in
cozy,
there.
dude. We got
always.
AC, 72 degrees in here right now. We got or heat, whatever. Yeah, it's nice.
Back
I-
to life.
I
Who is the best BJJ for MMA in the UFC? Man, that's a hard one. I have opinions on stuff like that, but I'm not like the guy who's super up to date on the UFC in present time. Like I really like the UFC and I've kept up with it some. Obviously, I could say I don't know. 10th Planet's whole mission was to get a UFC belt, so you could just say Tony Ferguson. That would be the cop out answer, right? Ben Saunders is really good. Kevin Gastelum, 10th Planet guys. I could try to be funny and say Mackenzie Dern after her last performance. Yeah, I saw Connor get his black belt. I mean, back in the day, it was like Damian Maia. That was the guy that I thought had the best jiu-jitsu for MMA. That was like the last time I was super up to date with it. I obviously think, I'm opinionated, and I obviously think that like 10th Planet has the best jiu-jitsu for MMA. I just think it's going to take a little bit more time for us to, because I feel like we've shown that we can do it, but I feel like we haven't really established that we are the way to do it. So I think that's the future. The future is that 10th Planet in MMA, 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu in MMA being the best way to clinch and strike, with your jiu-jitsu without taking as much damage, will become the main way to do it. I think that's the future. We've shown that it's possible, but we haven't shown that it's like fucking like absolutely necessary. Yeah, Maya did get old. I mean, fucking George St. Pierre, but best jiu-jitsu in MMA, it's like if you're taking a guy down and you're holding him in top half guard, while that may be super dominant, is that jiu-jitsu? I don't know. He's a jiu-jitsu guy, right? But like jiu-jitsu is mainly the guard? I don't know. It's a hard question. You could go on for hours about this question. Yeah, and I think that's the thing about 10th Planet as a whole. As a guy who's diehard 10th Planet, I've done it for 13 years. I've had opportunities to switch to other gyms, and I haven't done it. Like 10th Planet is, to me, 10th Planet is jiu-jitsu. Like there's no jiu-jitsu outside of 10th Planet. But I think that's been historically the thing about jiu-jitsu or 10th Planet, right? Is that we've had one or two people or a small group of people be the best for a short period of time in MMA and jiu-jitsu. Remember when Gio Martinez won EBI and beat Eddie Cummings? That was a huge, huge deal, right? But it was very short-lived. PJ Barch beating JT Torres at ADCC's huge deal, right? 10th Planet Atlanta is absolutely destroying competitions right now. And we've had guys in the UFC do really good, right? Hell, even Liz Carmouche is a 10th Planet black belt. So we have like people that are good, but we've never been like undisputed the best team there was. Kind of how like New Wave is right now, or Gordon is right now. The other thing too is that like a lot of those people in jiu-jitsu, at least recently, they'll have like one guy or two guys that are super good, right? But they don't have like a team. And I think 10th Planet's next thing is like we've proven that we can have one or two guys or a handful of guys that are elite level at the top for a short amount of time or whatever. We can break through and be the number one team in the world for a little bit. I think the next thing is like raising it's like that's the top bar, right? It's the top. We've proven that. It's raising the bottom bar and becoming like just your average everyday dude at the highest level is a 10th Planet guy. Like being the best team in the world. And that's what Eddie's going for right now too. He's made a huge push for 10th Planet competitors to go to Nogi Worlds in December. And I think we're getting really close to having 100 people competing because he wants to win the 10th Planet team title in Nogi Worlds, IPJJF. Like, we've won quintets, you know, like, that's our big thing right now, is being the best team. Yeah, Grace Gundrum is the fucking goat, dude. Seen Eddie getting older? Yeah, man, he's all grayed up, whited up. I think it's fine. It's natural. Look at Jean-Jacques, dude. Jean-Jacques old. He's still the man. Hickson Grace, he's still the man. Hell, I'm fucking old. I feel old. I know everybody that's older than me would think I'm still a child, but I'm about to be 30, man. Which is bittersweet, because once I'm 30, I will have been doing jiu-jitsu longer than I will have not been doing jiu-jitsu, which is cool. But at the same time, I'm going to feel fucking ancient. Yeah, man, it was good seeing you too. I gotta head to work. Have a good day, sir.